Why are some of the executives sounding now the alarm on Britain as an investment destination?
So this was a big dive that we've done across the Bloomberg newsroom and on Bloomberg Radio. So we've heard a lot of criticism in the last couple of months. Think about James Dyson or Stellantis, Revolut or Microsoft. They've all had criticisms for the UK government. And yes, now it looks as if after a very difficult weekend, the government is going to be distracted again in terms of the politics rather than the economics. Essentially, business leaders are worried about the future direction of Britain, whether there is really a long-term plan. So we've spoken to a whole number of business leaders, including Archie Norman, who is the chairman of Marks and Spencer. OK, this is perhaps Britain's best-known brand. He is also himself a lifelong Conservative, a former MP and a former advisor to government. He is a real heavy hitter in terms of his views. And I asked him outright, does he think that the UK is adrift?
I think there's a huge appetite for a new agenda, for a sense of where are we trying to compete in the world? What is our strategy? Post-Brexit, it's no good just saying we left and we're going to have some trade agreements. It's how are we now going to compete in the world? You know, we've created this dislocation. We've created frictionful trade. No, rightly or wrongly, that's what people voted to do. Now we need a plan for how we compete. And it used to be called industrial strategy. Now, this government, for whatever reason, has an aversion to the expression industrial strategy. It's what everybody else calls it, so they can't bring themselves to say it. But I don't care whether it's a growth strategy or competitiveness. It's got to be a profound point of view as to how Britain's going to compete.
So a profound point of view. That was Archie Norman, the chairman of Marks and Spencer, speaking to me. Look, the Prime Minister's 5 pledges, which are largely on the economy, haven't done the trick. Neither has the plan from the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, the Edinburgh reforms. They have not convinced business, at least so far. Archie Norman's also got a range of criticism. He talks about skills. The government is agnostic on what it wants people actually to do in terms of building their skills. He says we've lost the plot when it comes to attracting businesses to headquarter in London, as well as to list. He also talks about specific interventions from government, which have been, quote, harebrained. He talks about, in particular, this idea of a price cap on essential foods being a failed policy of the 70s that has been tried before. So really pretty critical of the direction of government and in need of something longer term.
And Caroline, I guess, you know, the political drama with Boris Johnson, also Nicola Sturgeon, doesn't help things as you know, the government could be distracted once again.
Yeah, this is the issue. I mean, Rishi Sunak was speaking at Tech Week this morning in London, talking about trying to make Britain an AI hub and a regulator here in the UK. This comes after 72 hours in which Boris Johnson's resignation means that there will be 3 by-elections. This is going to put the Conservatives to the test at a really difficult moment. Up in Scotland, the SNP leader, the face of Scottish independence, Nicola Sturgeon, was arrested, not charged, then released on a separate SNP issue around finances. That means Labour could have a chance there. This is looking very precarious politically. But again, it's the politics and perhaps the internal machinations of the Conservative Party that dominate rather than the really big post-Brexit economic issues.